welcome you to the ACC Network. Basketball presented by Ally. First day of 2026. We hope you had a promising and prosperous year on the way. Hey, your sold-out crowd. They say it's sold out to be expected here at Reynolds Coliseum as NC State returns home and opens the new year hosting the Stanford Cardinal here as they resume ACC play. What's good? New year, new you. Happy New Year, folks. Carolyn Peck, she's the Hall of Famer. I'm Tiffany Green. We have got all of our party gear from last night. But CP, what time did you go to sleep?
Well, I went to bed at 9:30, but I'm ready for today.
That's not how you bring in the new year. Hey, Stanford on their East Coast swing to start the year. Meanwhile, when you look at this NC State team and the matchup that we'll see today, you've got to give love to the post for them, and Camille Pierre stands out.
Well, and she's been a terrific compliment to Tilda Trieger. Camille Pierre transferring in from Vanderbilt has been exactly what the doctor ordered for the Wolfpack. She is able to be a force inside, create her own shot, going one-on-one. But the thing that I think has been most impressive by Camille Pierre is that she leads the nation in rebounding. And of her 12.7 rebounds, 4 of those come on the offensive end. Yes, she can stretch the defense a little bit, but I think that 1-2 punch inside has been good for the Wolfpack.
Talk about a 1-2 punch. We know Nunu Aguera, but how about Laura Shumfai and how she's come on in her freshman year?
Well, this is another team. Stanford has needed a bigger presence inside, and Shumfai has been exactly that. She averages almost a double-double, and she's a big that can stretch the floor and knock down the three.
And Kate Pay leading the way in her second season as the head coach. Obviously was a part of that staff with Tara Vanderveer, played at Stanford. In fact, she had a great day in Raleigh back on December 3rd, 1994 when she notched a double-double in a win over the Wolfpack back in her playing days. And now she's challenging this group to be bullies on the boards today like she was.
She had 11 rebounds in that game. Can anybody from the Cardinal have 11 today?
And controlling things are the Cardinal out of so. They're making their East Coast swing. Got here on Tuesday.
And Stanford starting out in a man-to-man. And defensively, or NC State starting out in a man-to-man. And defensively, that's been an improvement.
Nunu Aguera, boy, the improvement that she's made from last year to this year. She's the leading scorer coming into today's game. Meanwhile, for NC State, some familiar faces and names. Zoe Brooks, the ball handler. The addition of Camille Pierre along with Trieger, as you said, inside. And then Cadence Samuels getting the start today. She's back in the lineup for the Wolfpack. Aguera goes from the same spot this time, pops out.
You can see Stanford much improved. Having Lapolo back at the point, number 10, she's been a good defender addition for the Cardinal.
Jones leaves it short. And Talana Lapolo, who's handling the rock, happy that she is healthy after a season-ending knee injury. The point guard, 10 in Cardinal red, and moving inside quickly. Shumfai, we'll call her name quite a bit today, as Shumfai, who has gotten off to a terrific start in her first season.
Yeah, it's a 6'3" post player. She's a freshman, but she plays more like an upperclassman.
This Wolfpack team, their last game on December 21st against Davidson, had an 11-day break before getting back into action this afternoon. And Camille Pierre, the leading scorer for the Wolfpack, gets the first 2 for her group.
And Pierre, who is averaging over 15 points a game. She averaged almost 20 points a game when she played at Vanderbilt last season.
Nice new addition for Westmore in this very young group. On the take is Courtney Ogden, and Ogden, who has just been on fire the last 4 games. And really, that's what Kate Pay wants to see more of, because she's been averaging 18 points a game in her outings.
Courtney Ogden has been like a cake waiting to bake. Through her freshman, sophomore year, now junior year, she's about done.
Can she continue to put that icing on top of it in this 2026 year? Lapolo back over to Ogden, one of 2 on this roster from Atlanta, GA. Shumfai on the take, no, defended by Pierre, and that's, again, that matchup you talked about wanting to see on both ends of the floor. The walkthrough from Brooke Snow. Great box out there from Shumfai to get position.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be decided on players that are able to handle the boards, handle the glass, lets both teams get out in transition.
offensive foul going against Haley Swain, a part of that impressive freshman class, as the charge here. Good position there from Pierre.
Pierre she's always been in the right place at the right time. An area of improvement I have seen throughout her career. Vanderbilt wanted to get more from her defensively. She's having to do that with NC State.
And this is a group with Pierre coming over from Vanderbilt, and the juniors on the rosters, but no seniors for Westmore, so he's got a young crew, first time in program history that they haven't had a senior.
Well, when you don't have a senior, you've got to establish a leader. You can't assign it. You've got to see who rises to the top. They want to get more of that from Zoe Brooks, who is the point guard, and she's got to make that decision, when to pull the trigger and when to dish it off.
Back out to Zam Jones. Jones, one of those scorers in doubles figures in the lineup, and just throws it away, but it was last touched by the Cardinal. We talked about Westmore, his team, regular season champs in the ACC a season ago, made it to the Sweet 16 before falling to LSU. But this group, as he says, is just continuing to get to know each other and gel. And on the offensive end, he wants to see balance, but he also wants to see a lot of that on inbounds plays, easy to trigger.
You've got to have a defensive execute. You've got to have offensive execution against the defense of the Cardinal.
Ashley Stevenson, who checked in the ball game for the Cardinals, setting the screen for Ogden, making the decision to go, kicks it out to Aguera. And Aguera off the mark, and Camille Pierre, we mentioned, the nation's leading rebounder, comes up with the board. Trieger, who can take it from the top of the key, and it rattles off.
You hear the disappointment from the crowd, because Trieger can definitely knock down that three in the trail spot.
Swinging over in the corner there, Stevenson for three, can't go. Aguera got a hand on it. It ends up with Trieger pushing it now as Zam Jones left side of the court. And she pulls up. Wolfpack 2 for 8 from the floor. When we talked about rebounding coming in, the importance of trying to grab offensive boards to create second chance opportunities. Thus far, both teams searching for no board as Ogden takes a breather. Shea Ijiwoye checks in. She's guarding Zam Jones. Trieger sees it roll off.
But what do we see? NC State wanted to see now that it's a new year, getting more post touches, and you see them looking early to go to Trieger.
Meanwhile, it's been a balanced scoring attack this season for Stanford. An over-the-back call on Zam Jones, our officiating crew, Joseph Vasily, Frautusa, Seiko Stevens, and Talisa Green.
Here's the mistake that Jones made on the box out. The reach back with one hand. She did everything that she was supposed to do, I believe, with the lower body. But when you reach behind, the officials are going to give the benefit of the doubt to the offense.
Lopolo off the mark there. Jones comes up with the rebound. This group for the Wolfpack, returning 2 starters. Camille Pierre, that new addition, as we mentioned. The 17-footer falls for Pierre. She's got 4 points. An offensive foul called against Mary Ashley Stevenson, so they hand it right back over.
When you look at the first 10 field goal attempts, 3 from Trieger, 3 from Camille Pierre. She can knock that down right there and establishing the inside game for the Wolfpack.
A player who has such great promise, a late bloomer to basketball, started her junior season of high school, and Pierre just will continue to get better and better, but sails that one over her teammate's head. And timeout taken on the court. Media timeout. We'll step aside here as well. It's knotted at 6 apiece. ACC women's basketball is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Well, from the upset in the Sweet 16 till last year's regular season, meeting the 6th overall between these two programs. And of course, when you think about NC State, you think about Isaiah James and Sanaya Rivers. But when you talked with Wes Moore, he said, look, we are a group that's learning to play without them. And these have been storied programs over the years. Kate Pay even talked about just how this group, who missed the NCAA tournament last year for the first time in 36 years, feels like this is a group that can get back to the tournament.
Well, these are two teams that are picked in the top half of the ACC. I think that after you get your first glimpse of ACC action, I think the voters got it wrong. And they picked NC State finishing second and Stanford to finish sixth. So this Stanford team is going to be one to deal with in the ACC.
Coming in at 12-2 overall on the season. They've been perfect on the road thus far. And they won chasing a preseason favorite in Duke, North Carolina, and at number 3, Louisville at 4. And sandwiched in there is Notre Dame at 5. Zoe Brooks, who was fouled and will go to the free throw line. Brooks, who coming off a great honor from last game back on December 21st, eclipsed 1,000 points in her career with a 14-point effort. And knocked down a huge three-pointer in that win over Davidson.
We talked about the adjustment of playing without Sanaya Rivers and Isaiah James. Chloe Brooks has had to make the biggest adjustment because she was the benefactor with as much the defense paid attention to Rivers and James. Now, Brooks is the go-to. She's at the top of the scouting reports for her opponents.
Zam Jones, great defense there. Last touch by the Wolfpack guard. Well, we saw on that graphic earlier, Carolyn, this game got off to a very quick start, but since then things have kind of settled down. Stanford was 3 of 4 to start the game, and they're 0 for in their last 5 attempts. Trying to get it inside to Nunu Aguirre. Instead, they push it back out. Under 10 on the shot clock. Aguirre's got to make a move. The trigger in her face, tries to get around, and does so.
Oh, that's a big move. And I'm interested to watch this matchup of the bigs for both teams. Aguirre, off the bounce, is really going to challenge Trigger inside.
Nice pass from Maddie Coxon to Zam Jones, who was cutting to the hoop. Aguirre with 4 points over to Shumfai, too long. Jones comes up with the board, pulls it back out, and sets it half court.
NC State being patient because of having Stevens and Trigger, both post players that can score it from the outside, can really open up things in the paint.
The turnaround, okay. We see you, Miss Maddie, the junior out of Flower Mound, Texas.
That's Maddie Cox, my bad.
Maddie Cox, who is the younger sister of the WNBA great Lauren Cox. And Maddie, who's got experience, was a part of that Final Four team a couple of years ago for the Wolfpack, as that one is drained by Haley Swain. Haley Swain, a part of, again, that top 3 recruiting class for the Stanford Cardinal. She is among the 5-star recruits, a couple of 4-star as well for Kate Pay. A 1-point ball game with just over 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Love how the bigs, they can rebound and bust out on the dribble to get transition started.
An offensive foul called against Courtney Ogden, but let's go back to the other end of the floor.
Look how open the paint is. Zam Jones setting her defender up. And once you commit to going back door, don't hesitate. Go hard, and you can be rewarded. And then the freshman, Haley Swain, from long distance. That's what the Cardinal need to open up things inside.
Haley Swain with big expectations with her coming in. Near a double-figure score. Her speed and quickness on the defensive end as she's picking up and putting ball pressure on Jones right now. High ceiling for this young lady.
Man, did she look good against against Tennessee? She had 14 points in that one.
The take just off, but there's Trigger to clean it up. Tilda Trieger on the boards hard, the offensive rebound. And listen to this crowd inside Reynolds Coliseum, loving the effort on the other end from Maddie Cox.
Wes Moore talked about the improvement of Maddie Cox, limited minutes in her early career, but now she has been able to really step things up, bringing it on the defensive end now in her junior year.
And on the scouting report, you got to look at 3 offensive fouls now for Stanford. So you see this Wolfpack team willing to give up their bodies and get in position. And Cox, who had that nice assist to Jones a couple of possessions before. Here's Brooks, crossover, finds Cox.
Oh, nice shot fake.
Comes in a little bit closer and knocks it down. Okay, Maddie Cox, she's ready to play.
You can see how comfortable Maddie Cox is on the floor and playing with great confidence. Real smart move on that shot fake.
Shea Ijiwoye. Big jump, picks up the dribble. Eschmeyer, Alex Eschmeyer, number 4 in. Off to Shumfai. No, and trying to hold up that rebound with the high hands was Candace Samuels. On the floor is Trieger. And a tie-up, jump ball, possession arrow goes with the Wolfpack. So Maddie Cox just making her minutes count.
But I love the read. She sees the defense flying out her and keeps her feet set until that ball hits the deck, not to get the travel, and then rises so smooth into that mid-range.
4 points in 4 minutes for the junior. Brooks splitting defenders. This is what she does ever so well, but the offensive foul is right there. Is Lopolo.
And Lopolo gets both feet down before Brooks is able to leave the floor. Help rotation. So big for the Cardinal. That's what you got to do when you've got guards on the floor like Zoe Brooks and Zam Jones that can take you off the dribble. You've got to respect them from the perimeter, but you also have to be ready to defend them off the bounce.
A lot of contact on the block as Eschmeyer, who was fighting for position with the arm wrapped around Cox. And another offensive foul, 5th now for the Cardinal in this first quarter. Correction, 4th for the Cardinal on the offensive foul side of things. Kate Pay's group trailing by 5.
So now Eschmeyer and Mary Ashley Stevenson having to hold it down inside.
Nice take inside for Zoe Brooks. And Brooks, again, that's where she's dangerous. We've got back the end, and Ijiwoye off the mark, and that takes us to the close of the first quarter. A 7-point lead after 1 for NC State, who's opening at home in 2026 against the Cardinal.
NC State has extended to a 7-point lead, and a lot of it has to do, after the first time out, they only had 2 points in the paint. Since they've had 6. They had Zoe Brooks leaving the lane open, allowed to drive, and then getting on the offensive boards by Tilda Trieger. I think that going into the paint will really open up shots on the perimeter, but one of the things Wes Moore wanted his team to continue to do was be aggressive to the rim.
Aggressive, they have been 3 players with 4 points, including Trieger, who's taking a breather to start this second quarter. Camille Pierre back on the floor for the Wolfpack, along with the new face in Destiny Lunan, aka Kai Shi. Kai Shi got a piece of that one. She brings it up the floor. The freshman out of Goodyear, Arizona. So the Arizona time between Pierre and Lunan. Brooks. No. Pierre again. The rebound, creating second chance opportunities. 3rd O board for the Wolfpack. And she gets position. The turnaround fadeaway, and just short.
That's one of the things Stanford's going to have to work on, is trying to keep Camille Pierre off the glass, specifically on the offensive end. She averages about 4 boards a game.
Shielded by Shamfai. Single digits on the shot clock. Little runner there. Won't go.
A lot of one-on-one by Stanford trying to create shots. They got to trust the offense and move the ball. One of the things Kate Pay said she wanted to improve on assist-to-turnover ratio.
Pierre loses the handle on that one. Shamfai coming out, leading the way in transition. Too strong, but coming up to get that one is Aguera. She wanted that basketball, and she got it. Nunu Aguera, the junior out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, averaging just about 9 boards a game. 6th best in the conference.
I think Stanford wants to pick up the pace of this. They get about 19, almost 20% of their points in transition.
Shamfai spots up for 3 and knocks it down. And Shamfai just so versatile. The freshman who was born in Hungary and then later moved to Australia at 3 years old.
But the maturity you see from Shamfai is her experience with the Australian national team. Finishes with both hands, can extend the floor.
And answering back the other way is Maddie Cox. And Maddie Cox leading the way for the Wolfpack in all scores now with 7. She is a perfect 3 for 3 from the floor.
You look at Maddie Cox, she can shoot it. She's 46%, 38% from the three-point line.
Ogden, hard stop, pulls up, yes. Courtney Ogden, we talked about just the run that she's had over the last handful of games. Had a pair of 20-point games, including career-high 25 in that ECC opener and win over Cal. Traveling violation, and they hand it back, but going back to Courtney Ogden, the junior who's been shining in her starting role.
Well, Stanford needs Ogden to really step things up, because remember, they're playing without Chloe Clarity, and that's about 12 points a game that the Cardinal are missing.
Clarity, who did not make the trip out for a 2nd game due to illness. And Garrett. She's fouled, but again, looking at just the balanced scoring that we have seen from the Cardinal this season, even with Clarity out, you've got Aguera, Shamfai, Ogden all in double figures. Swain flirting with it as well.
Well, and Clarity with 11.8, that's coming in off the bench and contributing about 30 minutes a game for Stanford.
And when you think about Clarity, a player who could be starting on some rosters across the country, but she's provided that nice spark for Kate Pay and this Cardinal team.
Well, Clarity had to start last year, and she had to start at the point, because remember, LaPaulo, she only played in 5 games last year before she went down with injury. So that's like a 6th starter that Stanford would have if Clarity was here.
They trim the lead down, and a 1-point ball game in favor of the Wolfpack. Seeking their 3rd win in a row here at home. And the scoop layup in from Zoe Brooks. Brooks, who is just so tough to defend, especially when she creates off the bounce.
Well, that's Zam Jones, the sophomore, but they look alike and can contribute in the same way off the bounce. And they're really adjusting to fill in the shoes of Rivers and James. That 1-2 punch of the guard spot, and now with the addition in the post makes NC State hard to defend.
The kick out to Aguera, no. Cox comes up with it, and I like to call Zam Jones Zoe Brooks Z squared. So thank you for having my back, partner.
I gotcha.
Over to Jones, a sophomore out of Greenville. Top 10 in the ACC, an assist-to-turnover, assist, and scoring. That one pops out for her.
I mean, that was all halfway down before it came out. Last 6 games, Zam Jones has been averaging over 17 points a game. She's been that offensive punch. You got to respect Jones from the 3, but she is so crafty in getting by the defense and then the extension around the taller players to get the finish.
Ogden kicks out, finds a pull-up. No. And here's Maddie Cox. Maddie Cox, who has just been all over the floor tonight and impacting just off the mark. The Stanford team who has really tested itself this season. A couple of wins against some major conference teams, the former Pac-12 foes in Washington, who was ranked at the time, in Oregon. Shumfai, Haley Swain, who have been such a big part of that recipe for success for the Cardinal.
But you look how the Cardinal have gotten back into this game. How did NC State start the game? Post touches. They've gone to a more guard-oriented offense, and missed shots has allowed Stanford to get right back in this thing.
Devin Quigley thought about it. Here's Jones trying to probe this defense. And a whistle on the floor and a stoppage in play momentarily. And we'll get a better explanation as play was interrupted as we come back here to Raleigh. Here's what's coming your way Sunday on the ACC Network. Women's basketball quadruple header. We've got Hannah Hidalgo and the 18th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on Duke at Cameron Indoor at noon Eastern. Virginia, Florida State and Tally. And then Louisville, 13th ranked Cardinals hosting Virginia Tech at 4. Jeff Wall's crew is playing really well these days. And we cap the day with Pitt and BC and Chestnut Hill. Well, there was a stoppage on the floor. There was a clock violation that just paused in the middle of play. You see it stopped there at 4:49 on the game clock. So everything's cleaned up. 3 seconds remaining on the shot clock at 4:44, and quickly in and off the mark for Tilda Triga. A back and forth affair, and Stanford, who has really kind of found a rhythm here in this second quarter.
But the efficiency offensively, they've been able to get the shots that they want. They've been very patient there. They get the ball inside to Aguera, who's able to finish.
And the lead taken by Stanford. And it's been Aguera and Shumfai in this second quarter. They've scored 9 of the 13 points here in this period alone for the Cardinal.
You see where NC State has changed. They went back to how they started this game, and that was playing through their posts with Trieger and Camille Pierre instead of the guards kind of trying to create their own shots.
Well, Wes Moore, who has traditionally kind of played more of a 4 guards out, 1 in, said he was going to switch things up a little bit, and obviously when you've got Trieger and Pierre, you could do a little bit more.
Look, you got to understand the ACC, it's a guards league. You talked about Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame and some of the other top guards, but you've got to have post players who can contribute if you're going to rise to the top of the conference.
Over. There's Ogden, who loses the handle and turns it over. And this is a sneaky little area where NC State has taken advantage of the turnovers from Stanford in this game. That got 7 total. And a traveling violation, so they hand it right back over to the Cardinal.
We talked about the adjustments. Zoe Brooks looking for an opportunity every time she touches the ball to go score, because she can. Right. But she's got to get her puppies lined up before she takes off.
Zoe Brooks, who has been a fixture here for the last 3 years for this NC State program. And just kicking around the perimeter in the hands of Aguera. To Swain, the freshman, who is fouled. A little handsy there from Lunan, and she's called and whistled for the personal foul.
Yeah, both these teams like to play off the ball, screen action. There's got to be communication. The post got to call it early to let the guards know they got to get over or go under, but that communication is key.
Wes Moore having some words on the sideline. On the inbound here. Ijiwoye, who Kate Pay says brings her energy each and every day. Practice, games, no matter what. Looking for somewhere to go. Ogden trying to track it down. And now the 8th turnover for the Cardinal. An area of concern, or what we talked about earlier with Kate Pay and making sure they take care of the basketball.
There's got to be patience because both these teams are top defensively. So exercising that patience. Look, this game is key. These are teams that are both in the top 30 in net. Like their resume building for the postseason.
Absolutely. As Kaishi Lunan knocks it down, the freshman with her first points of the game, and that ended a 4-minute drought for the Wolfpack, who grabbed the lead back. Guerra nearly lost the handle. Cardinal keeping up with it. 6 to go on the shot clock. The take from Swain, and that one was deflected and blocked. Stolen away. Great eyes by LaPolo. And coming in for a streaking Ijiwoye, who has it smacked down by Trigger. A lot of action and a fury of seconds as Trigger, who had the ball back, stolen away.
Well, you saw Wes Moore started to appeal until he saw that the officials, they had changed it on their own, that the ball went out on Stanford and the ball goes back to White.
And it was indeed the right call as it looked to have ricocheted off of Ijiwoye's leg or foot last. Moving through is Brooks. Brooks is fouled. And this is Apollo, who picks up her first personal foul. Second team foul for the Cardinal. Zoe Brooks, when you watch her play on the court, she brings a ton of confidence and swagger to this Wolfpack crew. Plainfield, New Jersey. Well, folks, we're so excited about this because Saturday night, January 10th, freshman phenom Caleb Wilson and the 12th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels host Wake Forest at Dean Smith Center at 6, and immediately following a documentary debuting and chronicling that 93 championship led by Smith. You'll get to see all kinds of great footage never seen before right here on the ACC Network and the ACC app. 4-point advantage for the home team. NC State. And Aguera brings them within 2. Nunu Aguera, who's got 12 points so far tonight, paces the way with all scores on the floor. Preseason All-ACC selection after second team a year ago. Inside to Trigger. Trigger got great position, turns around, leaves it in. The 6'6" sophomore out of Stockholm, Sweden, steals it away. And on the break, there's Brooks. Got him. Final minute of the first half, a 6-point advantage for NC State. And the Wolfpack faithful getting behind their team, currently undefeated in ACC play. This is one of 7 sellouts expected this season.
You got to expect that. NC State going to hold for the last shot. High ball screen and let Zoe Brooks go to work.
Brooks looks to get downhill. Tough shot and take no. And good defense there. Stanford can get the last shot from half court. And LaPolo is off the mark. Well, NC State ends strong to close out and withstanding that early surge to start the second quarter from Stanford. 15 points off of 9 Cardinal turnovers this half. And the Wolfpack with Zoe Brooks leading the way with 8 points. Our score 32-26 coming up after the break. Kelsey Riggs-Cuff, Kelly Gramlich, and Kai Crutchfield in studio to talk about their New Year's resolutions and more.
What's going on? Welcome into this ACC Network halftime report. Kelsey, Kai, and Kelly with you, wishing you a very happy 2026 New Year. The New Year's just starting, so all the resolutions looking really, really good right now, right? Everybody's going to the gym, everybody's eating healthy, we're all gonna read more, we're gonna journal more, we're gonna do all of the things this 2026. Alongside Kai Crutchfield, Kelly Gramlich, I'm Kelsey Riggs-Cuff with high expectations for our 2026 ladies, and we wanna share some of those expectations with you guys, not for ourselves, but for some of our ACC teams. So Kelly, let's start with Louisville, and you guys are going to tell me what the New Year's resolutions should be for these ACC teams. So what do you have for the cards?
It's funny that we're starting with Louisville because my New Year's resolution for them is change nothing. You look fantastic, okay? You're perfect just the way you are, change nothing. But really, I think Louisville's playing great basketball. They're coming off a blowout win over Tennessee. Their only loss as of late was the 2-point loss to South Carolina where they had a chance to win it at the end. They beat North Carolina in overtime. I love the way Louisville's playing right now. It feels like their pieces are coming together. Taj Roberts at the point of attack has been fantastic. Ziegler's really good at stretching the defense, and Amari Berry's coming along as well. So as I think a lot of people want to hear for their New Year's resolutions, don't change a thing. You're perfect.
They're defending, they're sharing the ball, they're doing everything, they're clicking on all cylinders, and they have playing with real confidence right now.
I mean, that's exactly what you want to hear in 2026 from some of your biggest fans. Is just keep doing what you're doing because everything's really good. And I'm sure that Jeff Walz does not want to hear that because he's like, we got to get better, we got to do even more and more. And we'll see if they're able to do that in the new year. Meanwhile, Kai, let's look at another team, one that is near and dear to your heart, this NC State alumni. What do you have for NC State in their New Year's resolution?
I'd say limit the turnovers. When they lost against TCU, USC, Rhode Island, their turnovers averaged at about 14 per game. If they can limit those turnovers, take care of the ball, and finish each possession with the rebound, then they're a different team. We saw that they were playing great against Tennessee in Greensboro. You have Camille Pierre just being a monster on the offensive boards, and then the active hands of the guards as well. Being able to close out to those defenders and then being able to secure a rebound is what's going to be needed in order to get a double seed when you're, or excuse me, a double bye when you're getting into March for the ACC tournament.
And I think in terms of limiting the turnovers, it's those guards figuring out their new roles in Zam Jones and Zoe Brooks. You're seeing them start to gel in kind of the different, because they weren't used to being the go-to, especially with Zoe Brooks, Zam Jones needing to score more. We're seeing them figuring that out.
Limit some of their turnovers, clean up some of those mistakes, and then of course learn from that tough schedule they played and continue to get better, and I'm sure that they will. Kelly, let's look at another ACC team. And Duke, what should their New Year's resolution be?
Duke needs to get back to what they do best, and that's getting after it on the defensive end. They are forcing, speaking of turnovers, 4 less turnovers per game than last year. They're giving up 63 points per game. Last year they were around 56. Now Duke also has played a really tough schedule, and they're adjusting to life without Alucia Kanoa, who transferred to Maryland, and I think they're starting to figure it out defensively. The Syracuse win is one of those games where they did that. So that's what Duke has to do, get back to their defensive roots in 2026. I think they've already started that. They got a head start on their resolution at the end of 2025, which is hard to do during the holidays, Kelsey, as we know. So Duke doing a good job getting back on track, but they've got to get back to what they do best, and that's defense.
And when the defense is setting the tone, everything else follows. The offense comes easy, and they start to look like themselves again.
It's what Duke has been known for quite some time. Are you telling me that if I would have started my New Year's resolution earlier, then I would be feeling better about it right now?
Kels, you are Louisville. You're perfect the way you are.
Oh my God, this girl. That's why I love working with you guys. Okay, let's see if we can throw out some more compliments, or at least some more New Year's resolutions. North Carolina, a team that I know you used to love back in the day. She's going to put that aside and tell me what they need this new year.
they're not knocking down their free throws like they want to be. They can score with anyone in the ACC, but when those possessions or those games and those get tight and it comes to 2 or 3 possessions, they're going to need those points. They can't leave those points on the table, and being able to knock down those free throws, that'll help create, that confidence when it comes to that team offensively.
We have a bottleneck at the top, right? NC State, North Carolina, Louisville, Notre Dame. These are all teams that are going to be in the mix. Stanford, to win the ACC, it's going to come down to some of these tiebreaker situations. UNC dropped a tough one to Louisville. Free throws were a part of that. They're going to have to knock down free throws if they want to win the ACC.
And that is something that is such a small thing that becomes a big thing when you look at that stat sheet and you see, okay, that was where we missed our opportunities. Kelly, let's go Notre Dame. What should their New Year's resolution be?
They need to continue to prosper with Cass Prosper in the new year. And this is something, again, Notre Dame very smart, getting a start on the resolutions in December. Cass Prosper has been great for Notre Dame as of late. To me, she's the most improved player in the ACC at this point. She's 4th in the league in scoring. She stayed in South Bend over the summer to work on her game. She didn't go play with the Canadian national team, and that is showing. So more Prosper is going to be prosperous for Notre Dame in the new year. We know how good Hannah Hidalgo is, but they need a true second person, that player that can step up. Stop laughing at me, Kelsey. It's going to be Cass Prosper.
And she's starting to actually look for her shot now. I mean, you think about Sonia Cintron, like you said, Hannah Hidalgo, just being that next person that could step up for Notre Dame is going to be big for her.
I'm just smiling thinking about how we wish you all a happy and prosperous new year, and we hope that the second
Don't
half
change.
of this
You're
game
perfect.
is prosperous as well.
We welcome you back to ACC Network Basketball presented by Ally, back here at James C. Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. At the half, NC State with a 6-point lead over Stanford. We say hello and welcome you back courtside once again. Happy New Year, Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green, and I'm just going to ask you real quickly, partner, your New Year's resolution.
My New Year's resolution, I'm going to do a better job of trying to move every day for at least 20 minutes. Got to get that exercise. How about you?
I'm going to try to get right, get tight. That's all I'm going to try to do. Meanwhile, when you look at these two programs, we had the opportunity to talk to both Wes Moore and Kate Pay about what they would like to do and see for their teams and their New Year's resolutions. For Stanford, be more consistent.
Absolutely. And then for NC State, Wes Moore talked about he wanted to get better every day. And I think he's done so. I think one of the areas to get better has started today, and that's been balance. It's not been so much guard-oriented, but the posts have been able to contribute. And when you look at what Maddie Cox and Tilda Trigger have done, they've combined for 13 points, and that's when NC State has been able to make their runs, is when their posts have been able to contribute on the offensive end.
Well, Tilda Trigger, Maddie Cox, who have been great on the other side. It's been all Nunu Aguirre for the Cardinal.
Well, and this Stanford team has been a team that has had a lot of balance, and so far tonight, they've not been the most consistent. It's only been Nunu Aguirre who is in double figures, and she's done it in a number of different ways, inside and out and on the glass, but they're going to have to get contributions from somebody else to get themselves back in this game.
Who's going to get revved up for the Cardinal? My man is ready for 2026, glasses and all. We see you, player. Points off the turnovers, an area where NC State has capitalized. 15 points scored there. And you mentioned for Nunu Aguirre, again, missing Chloe Clardy off the bench.
And I think that has contributed to Stanford having 9 turnovers, and that's led to NC State's 15 points. Stanford's going to have to settle in. They got to take care of the basketball and chip away from this Wolfpack lead.
And I love the continuing conversation that we had with Wes Moore, just about, very simply, he said, get better every day. Well, what does that look like, and how do you do that? Yeah, obviously, when you're coming in the gym and getting ready for a game, but also when you're not.
Well, I think it's taking coaching and understanding, look, you got to play as a team. And he talked about how, kind of find that balance between the guards and posts. But he also talked about getting better when you're off. They had 6 days off. And so you got to rest, you got to recover so that you're ready to attack this ACC season.
Zoe Brooks snatched it away and running off the mark. Half the glass, Apollo Over to Haley Swain, and Swain loses the handle momentarily. Jones, who got a hand on it, scored the first bucket of this second half.
Stanford really relying a lot on Nunu Aguera. And this is who needs to get involved. Shamfai.
Well, Aguera just eyeing down the basket and successful in her attempts. 6 of 10 from the floor for 14 points for Nunu Aguera.
Well, Aguera's a junior, so if there's going to be a leader to step up for this Stanford team, it's got to be your upperclassman.
Meanwhile, you started this game talking about finding the post presence inside and posting up with Camille Pierre, and she puts it in off the glass.
Second and third most efficient shooters for NC State has been Camille Pierre and Tilda Trieger.
Trieger, who is challenging Shamfai, altering that shot, making it difficult at least. And the Wolfpack have it back. Brooks picks up her dribble through traffic. And Trieger tracks down the O-board. They kick it back out. Takes some time. Nice find there. Zam Jones had it sliced away there by Ogden.
Key defensively is you want to try to shrink the floor and keep the ball on one side of the floor. When you let it be reversed, the defense is at a deficit that gives those cutting lanes.
And that's an area of improvement from last season to now. And KK seeing her defense do better, but right there, no answer for Tilda Trieger, the 6'6" sophomore out of Stockholm, Sweden. A timeout taken by Stanford. And Tilda Trieger, who is picking it up, 8 points tonight for the Pack.
The bigs for the Pack have been huge inside. The isolation one-on-one. Stanford's got to find an answer.
Welcome back here to NC State, and partner, nobody knows post play better than you, and you have kept your eyes on the bigs today, and NC State's bigs have delivered.
Well, you look at Tilda Trieger, 4 for 7. You've got Camille Pierre, 3 for 5, and Maddie Cox, she has been perfect from the floor. So when NC State plays through their bigs, their efficiency has been off the chart.
We saw the nice boost off the bench from Maddie Cox you talked about. Those 7 points already registered by Cox. And Trieger, she's gotten going a little bit more. How about the reverse layup from Zam Jones? No. The rebound collected by Shamfai, her 9th of the game. And right now, offensively, what is it that Stanford needs to do? You said Aguera is obviously been the primary scorer, but how can others get involved?
Well, they're trying to get so deep in the paint, and the length of NC State, even though Samuels is called for the foul right there. Stanford is playing almost a little bit of a sagging zone, really daring, or NC State playing a sagging zone, daring Stanford to kind of look for those open shots from the outside, and they're not willing to take it. Everything's coming off the bounce.
Courtney Ogden at the line for Stanford. We talked about how strong her play was to close out 2025, averaging 18 points over that stretch thus far. She's been held at bay here today, just 5 points as she makes the back end of the free throw.
Lapalo, Swain are going to have to look to take some three-point shots. Kate has been begging those guards to be looking for their shot.
Samuels driving. And a traveling violation against the junior.
Man, NC State doesn't have to make it that hard. They've been so good at moving the basketball, and they've been able to get, whether it be a paint touch or a ball reversal, then the open drive, but you don't want to force it.
Shamfai picks up her dribble. mentioned Apollo looking to see her be more aggressive. That was one of the New Year's resolutions that Kate Pate challenged her point guard with. Samuels brings it back the other way for NC State. And a foul call against Apollo.
Yeah, Stanford can't get gun shy. They are 2 of 11 from the three-point line, but it doesn't have to be on the first pass. They need to take a page out of NC State's book and getting the ball reversal, making the defense have to shift, then drive it and kick.
Samuels at the free throw line on that start to get back in the lineup after some strong defense against Georgia Tech. So second straight start for Samuels, 10th of the season. Ogden back to Apollo. Talked about assist to turnover, Carolyn. Is an area of interest for Kate Pate. Still just 2 assists on the offensive end.
Well, they had 9 turnovers in that first half. Stanford did.
Apollo trying to make it difficult for Brooks. The crossover, pull up, yes! Zoe Brooks, who can get it going at any time. Brooks now with 10 points. Heaved up there by Ogden, no. Shumfai with the rebound. Good defense there from Camille Pierre. The tie-up as both go to the floor. And a jump ball. It's going to be NC State basketball, or rather.
Like this read by Zoe Brooks. The defense goes under as Apollo's trying to recover. That gives plenty of space for Brooks in the mid-range. And then these two, I expected them to battle inside. Pierre and Champagne going to the ground, battling for that one.
Get dirty, and Stanford gets the ball after the possession arrow in favor of the visitors. Courtney Ogden picks up, Samuel stays straight up, and Ogden gets it to roll in.
But still, that's so tough with the amount of length Stanford has inside.
Still man-to-man defense for the Cardinal. Do they switch it up? No. Ijiwoye steals it away one-on-one. She falls to the floor and turns it right back over. Camille Pierre, who didn't even make it up the court, was asking for it. Ogden strips it away. Careless basketball back and forth. Great defensive play, and Ogden makes some pay as Ogden now with 5 straight points.
The shot has to be Ogden's first thought. When she caught it, she was looking to make the next pass. If she's open, she's the best offensive threat there is in transition.
Well, Kate Pate says she wants to see more cooking with Courtney, and she was starting to get it going here.
Off the bounce, attacking the bigs inside. Look, she's a major offensive threat. When you're open, don't look to pass it, Ogden. You got to pull the trigger. Let her cook.
Here's next Saturday's ACC Network men's basketball triple header. Florida State hosts NC State to start things off at noon Eastern, then Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Finally, Virginia Tech hosts Cal in Blacksburg. Should be a great afternoon and evening of hoops on the ACC Network Saturday, December 10th. Well, Carolyn, you mentioned just the importance of a complimentary piece for the Cardinal in scoring to Nunu Aguirre, and it's been Courtney Ogden thus far in this third.
Yeah, Ogden only had 4 points in the first half. She's had 6 already in this third quarter. Hey, it's New Year's. Who else for the Cardinal are going to join the party?
Offensive foul going against the Wolfpack.
I think it's got to be Laura Champagne. She's got to add to the offense for the Cardinal to try to trim away at this 7-point lead for NC State.
Champagne, as we mentioned, McDonald's All-American, came over from Australia. Ogden no. Champagne corrals that rebound, gives them another chance, already breaking the 11 rebounds that her coach had back in '94. However, stolen away by Brooks. And again, taking care of the basketball was paramount. 6 steals already we've seen, taking away from the Cardinal.
Stanford playing like they're behind. Shea Ejoye, she's going to be aggressive. She was a spark in that Cornell game, really causing deflections and leading the Cardinal in transition.
Got to get it up. Samuels fading away, falling back. No, shot clock violation. Didn't get a piece of the rim. And Westmore's group comes up empty, but you talked about Ejoye and just the electricity that she brings when she's on the basketball court. Loves the game through and through.
That Cornell game, she had 3 steals. Look, she's going after it right now. She's picking things up, number 6 for the Cardinal. Ejoye may be the smallest player, but look how she's getting in there, trying to help the Cardinal get a possession back.
And the sophomore, very fiery. 12 points, her best of the season against Cornell in that win that you mentioned back on December 28th. And wow, a crossover spin move, rinse cycle for Zam Jones. Zam, wow.
She was calling for the and one, too, number 3 in white.
O'Gara defended by Cox, good defense there, a little kick ball. Samuels gets on the floor, comes up with it. When you watch this NC State team who has had control since the second quarter, they've looked strong throughout, and of course they have challenged themselves in the non-conference, given the fact they have played some tough competition. Zam Jones doing big things.
Just demonstrating the versatility. We talked about the run they made with the bigs, but they've got very capable guards to get it done. And Zam Jones, even though she's just a sophomore, averaging over 14 points a game.
And you talked about it earlier, Zam Jones, who had that big surge late against Tennessee in that season opening win over the ranked Lady Vols. You've got Camille Pierre at the free throw line, who had a great stretch, especially down in Cancun.
The 2 ACC games that the Wolfpack have played, she's averaged over 17 points a game and shooting at a clip of 68%. So she is the queen of efficiency in ACC play so far this season.
Scoreless in the last 2 minutes plus for the Cardinal. Ogden, who's had a strong third quarter, puts it up and in. Courtney Ogden, who has just had the hot hand this quarter. Still a double-digit lead for NC State.
Now you got to go to the hot hand. Ogden, number 40. She's in the bottom part of your screen. Come ball screen for her.
Instead, taken away. Good defense going on the floor. Brooks finds Samuels. She keeps the party going. Oh yeah, and one.
On New Year's Day, Caden Samuels with the steal, pops the champagne cork with the finish and the and one.
And Samuels, who ignited this crowd just now, the junior at the free throw line with her patented Afro puffs at the free throw line.
Look, she ain't the only talent in that Samuels family. She got a little sister, Cadence Samuels, as well, to keep an eye on in high school.
Yeah, class of 2027. Brother Kwanzi played basketball at Florida Gulf Coast and Georgetown as well. Tough shot there inside for Ogden. It's contested as Samuels finds Pierre. Pierre off the mark, and Samuels once again, a little Energizer bunny for the Pack. And and the crowd loves it.
Crashing the boards. That second effort is what Wes Moore is looking at. He talked about going back to the New Year's resolution, getting a little better, improving. Well, Caden Samuels crashing the boards. That's an area you definitely want to see improved on.
And that was a third personal foul on Lara Shumfai, so she goes to the bench. And Shumfai, who has such a promising career, but just 5 points so far this afternoon. As Kaishi Lunan checks back into the ball game, giving Zam Jones a breather.
Well, Agara carried the mail in the first half. Courtney Ogden stepped up. Those three, number 3 and number 40 for the Cardinal, have got to be ready to take over.
And Ogden, who's just so versatile, loses it there. Again, the defense of the pack and the length making it difficult inside. Speaking of inside, they try to go inside to Camille Pierre, and it's taken away by Agara, and Pierre commits the personal foul.
Here's what's so hard for Stanford to score is NC State. Look at the bodies in the paint, the rotation. Cox completely selling out from guarding Agara in the corner to protect the paint.
You can't give house enough to Maddie Cox in the job that she has done when she has touched the floor. She has made her presence felt in this ball game. Tried to split through a couple of defenders. Haley Swain.
I think the guards for Stanford are going to dribble too many. Pick up the dribble a little bit earlier when the help comes in and then kick out. Now, it doesn't mean you have to take the shot, but the defense is going to be recovering. You have another driving opportunity.
They're trying to back down Cox inside, left hand, no. But the foul on Maddie Cox. That's her first personal foul. Another look here.
Agara is so tough, and she's going to spin back, use that left hand. Wasn't able to get the finish, but this is how you can chip away the lead by getting to the free throw line.
We're just 3 of 4 from the free throw line this afternoon, so not many trips to the charity stripe for the Stanford Cardinal, to your point, Carolyn.
Well, and I think that the reason that Stanford hasn't been able to get there as frequently is it's been a gang effort by the Wolfpack defending, and that length. They haven't had to foul, and their missed shots been able to rebound and head the other direction.
And you give it right back.
Maddie Cox is ready to run. She wants her guards, horses, get out and go. If I pass ahead, get on down the floor.
They'll take their time in this set. Find the best shot to be their final possession.
But if it's a drive, look at all the help from NC State that's going to be in the paint.
They had an open flare flash from Stevenson, missed there, and Camille Pierre comes up with it. Pierre and the pack have numbers. The show and go from Camille Pierre. Traveling violation, correction, double dribble. And so now the Wolfpack can extend their lead. They've got 3.5 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Wes Moore.
Stanford picking up full court as Kaishi trying to put it up before the end of the quarter. Not able to do so, off the mark, but Camille Pierre and the Wolfpack in control after 3 quarters.
Once the tempo picked up in this game, Camille Pierre with the finish. Wolfpack with a comfortable lead.
The annual acorn drop in the city of Oaks. The acorn symbolizing fruitfulness and growth, and a lot of people gathering around downtown Raleigh to bring in the new year in fantastic fashion, the fireworks, and obviously the oak trees. A lot of acorns coming from those oak trees. As we take a look at the game summary, and paint points for NC State in favor, 24-20. Meanwhile, turnovers pretty balanced there. Courtney Ogden, though, picked it up for the Cardinal there in that third quarter, but they've got a lot of work to do in this final period. NC State, who has found success on the boards.
Yeah, if I'm Stanford, I would look to maybe change things up.
Shumfai and Pierre fall down, help each other up.
Shumfai called for another foul.
That's her fourth.
You know what I'm saying about Stanford's defense of maybe just changing things up a little bit. Maybe look, give a zone look. Break the rhythm and the confidence of the Wolfpack.
Correction, that foul was against Yunu O'Gara, not Shumfai. Ogden putting her head down, no. And Shumfai, who wrestles it away, maintains possession, finds Apollo for three, no. And it bounced around, ended up in the hands of Zam Jones, getting out running. Pierre working on O'Gara, try to put some moves on a little shake, no. The three from Swain off the mark. The possession arrow is going to go with the Wolfpack.
But I like that shot by Swain because you're trying to drive in the paint and score over size. Look, you take an open look from the corner. Sometimes an assist is an offensive rebound. You give your team an opportunity, and so far Stanford's done a decent job on the offensive glass. They have 10 so far tonight.
Neither team a particularly strong three-point shooting team. Swain, who hasn't had many attempts this season, as Brooks tries to pry inside, does so, gets her own rebound and one. Now, Zoe Brooks, who was relentless on that drive, followed her shot and put it back in.
And that spells trouble for Stanford because, did they call that on O'Gara?
Instead, it was on Ogden, they say. So that's her third personal foul. So taking a look at the picture, got Lapalo, with 3 fouls, along with Shumfai, as well as Ogden. And Carly Amborn in the game. Again, part of that freshman class traveling violation before it was poked away by Brooks.
Now, NC State knows that Stanford likes to play off the elbows, so the defense off both corners are really helping in big. When your big has at the elbow, kick to the corner, dive to the block, and then get it back. But get some movement instead of trying to create so much when there's so much congestion.
Newland, tough shot, and Stevenson fouls her on the way up. We talked about a couple of returning starters for NC State, some newcomers in, but no seniors for Wes Moore's group. And from what you have seen to start 2026, what has this younger team for the Wolfpack shown you so far today?
I think the more balance. And when I say balance, it's more of they've diversified how they score. It's not just guard-oriented, but post as well. And when that becomes more consistent, that collaboration of everybody, this Wolfpack team is going to be a force to reckon with, especially in the ACC.
Again, they've been sharpened in the non-conference. We talked about that season opening win against Tennessee, a 1-point loss to a ranked USC team, then to TCU. Oh, so close in that OT.
Double OT game.
Double OT against
That was a game I
Oklahoma.
didn't want to end. That was a good one.
Trigger, who was straight up called for the foul as Laguerre tried to put it up. And going back to that game against Oklahoma, and it was an opportunity for Wes Moore's team to close it out.
And they had led. I mean, they've been in charge in the majority of that game, and especially battling with the great Reagan Beers, who's having a tremendous season for Oklahoma.
And then freshman Aaliyah Chavez as well. And then you look at Jazzy Davidson over at USC. That was a 1-point loss, right? And again, that was an opportunity for this Wolfpack team to close it out. So finding a way when you're in ball games like that to close out your opponent.
Yeah, Wes Moore took a lot of onus for the non-conference, because he said not only did we schedule tough, we had to travel tough as well. But that's a great way for your team to grow up.
And so they welcome that 11-day break between their last game and this one. Meanwhile, just second year in the conference for Stanford in the ACC. Sizing up, then back out, trying to find somewhere to go with the basketball. Laguerre puts it on the floor. And that one is blocked. And what defense there, team defense from the Wolfpack. Kai-Shi Lunan.
That was just solid defense for the complete 30 seconds by the Wolfpack to cause the kick out. And Lunan there to contest, to get a shot clock violation. That's something great to build on for Wes Moore.
Kai-Shi, who is a fan of Kyrie Irving, swings it over to Zoe Brooks, an assist for the three-point basket. So her dad nicknamed Destiny Kai-Shi. Off the mark, there's Trigger. Zam Jones, everybody slowing things down for the Wolfpack. 6 boards, 8 rebounds for Trigger. Zoe Brooks with 16 points. Zam Jones has 8. And again, just everybody getting into the scoring effort for the Pack. No, in the mid-range. They're going after it again. Rolls off for Lunan a couple of times, and then Trigger finally sees it go down. Once, twice, and 3 times the charm there for the Pack.
Kai-Shi Lunan was trying to make something happen, but Trigger staying active on the glass. And when you look at the improvement that Trigger has made, that jump from her freshman to sophomore season, now averaging in double figures, major impact inside for the Wolfpack.
He had about 6 points averaging last year, had a freshman all-ACC team a season ago, and Trigger is continue to build on that season from last year and starting off strong in 2026 for the Wolfpack. They have the lead. ACC women's basketball is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Well, for NC State, they have come out smoking in this second half, and in the fourth quarter alone, 11 points, Carolyn, to just 1 for the Cardinal.
Yeah, in the second half, the defense of packing the paint for NC State has been beneficial. Stanford is 4 of 22 from the floor so far in this second half. You're going to watch. When the ball is away from you, if you are part of the Wolfpack, you're going to have a foot in the paint. That rotation is going to be there.
He understood the length coming in from the Cardinal and making sure they make it crowded inside. Eschmeyer and the undersized Zam Jones on the mismatch is able to steal it away. Activity on the defensive end. Yep. Jones lofts it up, leaves it short.
Stanford's got numbers if they take it.
Looking inside to Shumfai and Maddie Cox. Or rather, Tilda Trieger going up, and she's whistled for the personal foul. Well, we talked about the improvement for Trieger from a season ago, better than 6 points a game and nearly 5 rebounds a game. This year, we have seen a marked improvement.
And I think that those numbers are going to continue to go up as Westmore continues to hunt opportunities to get that balance, to get that post contribution. And I think Trieger is ready to answer the call. I mean, you're looking at a 6'6" presence inside.
I'll just go back, I think, to last year and a big overtime game as the trap there is picking up some full court pressure, breaking it easily as Devin Quigley waits for her teammates to trot back. Maddie Cox pulling a little bit of her back, but that's okay. The offense still clicking as the 3 falls for Quigley. Laguerre pulls up from the free throw line. No.
Quigley doesn't look like she's quite right. Grimacing on her face a little bit. She won't come out the night that she's having.
Maddie Cox, who has just been great all the way around. A little hezzy right there, comes through, scribbles through the lane, and there's Zam Jones again. Zam Jones now in double figures. That's 4 different NC State players with 10 or more points. Shumfai, who was asking for it for 3, no. And Trieger is bumped after she collects the rebound.
Zam Jones has just got that wiggle in her game. She put you to sleep with the hesitation, then the crossover to get to the finish.
And Maddie Cox, who we talked about, was not feeling the greatest, had a little pain, was grabbing her side. She takes a seat and a rest.
Maddie Cox finished the day perfect from the floor, 3 for 3, and even knocked down a 3-point shot.
Trieger misses the front end.
Trieger's working on another double-double. She's just 2 rebounds shy.
She had her first double-double of the season against OU back on December 3rd. 19 points, 12 rebounds. Shumfai, who wants that 3 ball to go down. She's had a couple of good looks, just not able to fall. And a tough shooting afternoon for the Cardinal. 27% overall for the game. And the numbers drop a little bit more from downtown.
Well, and without clarity on the floor, Shumfai is the 2nd leading scorer, and she has really struggled as well. Only 2 of 13 on the day.
Zoe Brooks continuing to tack on points. A 14-1 run. And get this, Carolyn, the Cardinal coming in, one of 13 teams to not allow an opponent to score 70 points or more. And NC State's at that number today, and better than 3 minutes to still work with. Jones back out to Brooks. Swing it over, Devin Quigley, looking. They try to swing it back in, and it's going to be Wolfpack basketball with 1.9 seconds remaining on the shot clock. So Adelaide Jernigan on the floor along with Destiny Lunan, the 2 freshmen, along with Mallory Collier, who's on the floor, 42 in white. So she had 8 points off the bench last year against Stanford. sticks with the pack. Is this group who come in?
I think Westmore wants Mallory Collier really post and get that call for it inside.
Not able to get the shot off in time. The basket will not clock, and a shot clock violation on NC State. Just a tinge late.
I think they're going to take a look at this one.
The call on the floor is a shot clock violation. The play is under review.
No, I don't think she got it off in time. Quickly wanted that one to count.
Yes, you did. Joe Vasili, Tusasiko Stevens taking a look over at the replay monitor, and this will likely be a quick call and confirmation.
But I think when you look at this game,
the call on the floor is confirmed, shot clock violation.
But the defense for NC State has got to be an area that Westmore is pleased with, because when you're guarding Stanford, it has to be know your personnel. And I think that in clogging the paint, understanding that they were going to drive, playing the percentages, because for a team that doesn't shoot it great from the three-point line, I think has been fantastic. I also like the adjustment that NC State made in having that balanced attack. Yeah, they've got dynamic guards, but they also have fantastic post players, and that balance has been huge for the Wolfpack.
Looking sharp to start the new year as Carly Amborn goes for three. No. Meanwhile, lessons learned as we talked to Kate Pay earlier today. This is this East Coast swing. They've got North Carolina coming up in a few days. Yeah, everything last year for Stanford was just kind of newness, right? Going to different arenas, different travel schedules. This group got here on Tuesday, adjusted really well. They're prepared for the new venues and teams and arenas that they'll face this year, 8 different ones. But for
last year, Kate Pay, in coming to the ACC, they could leave 2 days in advance trying to adjust to the time change. But she said, these high school players that are coming into college and the travel ball that they have over the summer and going to IMG, they are traveling all over the country, so they're used to whatever time zone. Look, you wake up and play.
You've got North Carolina, who got that win earlier today over Cal, coming up next over in Chapel Hill, then Wake Forest, and then Duke, obviously, going to circle that one as well. The preseason ACC favorite, Toby Fournier and company. So when you think about how Syracuse has played, they're going to make the trip up to Syracuse to face Felicia Leggett-Jack, and the Orange, a strong non-conference, look to make some noise in the ACC.
But Stanford's going to have to solve the riddle of, if you can't get paint points, where is your offense going to come from?
We saw Nunu Aguera, who really started things off and had the feels early on for the Cardinal. But the compliments of Mallory Collier getting her first 2 points of the game. They hope to get Chloe Clardy back soon to just add a nice lift, as she would always come off the bench and give them a spark. Just 2 bench points this afternoon. And now 4 with that bucket from Alex Eschmeyer.
Westmore, look, he's got to be pleased with the way his team is starting off the new year in 2026. When you hold the Stanford Cardinal to only, probably under 50 points, field goal percentage shooting 46, above have a shot in the non-conference, so improvement. And that's what he wants to do, get a little bit better every day. That's his New Year's resolution.
What Westmore is hoping to do is follow up what we saw from last year, a share of the regular season title with Notre Dame. They picked up those nice shiny rings during the holiday break.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what a great gift, huh? Shoot. Well, just a reminder, but some new faces, new pieces, as it is everywhere. Kai-Shi Lunan drops it. Camille Pierre, we mentioned, a great addition here to go along with a couple of others, as that one is knocked down by Harper Peterson. But just exactly what Westmore wanted to see. He loved the balance that he had on offense. That was on full display here this afternoon. He said we needed to do more of a buy-in on the defensive side of things. They absolutely did that, holding Stanford to 46 points. That's a season low, as the final 74-46. The Wolfpack improved to a perfect 3-0 now in ACC play. The efforts of Trieger with a dozen points, led by Zoe Brooks, Camille Pierre, Zam Jones, all in double figures.
Yeah, I really like the balance of NC State. We'll have Zoe Brooks join us here today. 18 points. Perfect 5 for 5 from the floor, 6 of 13, and also 6 assists on the day. Just another day at the office for Zoe Brooks.
Zoe, let's see if we could give you some love and crown you all with this Happy New Year hat. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Here, we can do it this way.
We can do bam. You gotta accentuate.
There you go. Nice.
Taking in this win today, but how good does it feel to start off the new year with a dub?
It feels great. You know, we got a little break for Christmas, and we had time to just take some time off and relax our bodies, get our mental right for ACC play, and it's always great playing in front of our fans, so I think we had a lot of fun today.
Zoe, you got your bigs involved early. How important is that for you guys this year to have that balanced attack so you don't have to shoulder so much of the load?
Yeah, that's the key. Our posts are playing really well right now. They're shooting really efficient from the field. So, you know, a lot of teams are probably going to try and double them in. So it's really important to get into them, and they'll always get it back.
You are so crafty at being able to get pretty much any shot that you like. What opens up things for you in order to do that?
Just being relaxed, and obviously there's a lot of attention on the post, and we have some really good shooters. So obviously that makes my life a lot easier, and it's always fun playing basketball.
Well, you're in a new role this year. You're used to having Sanaya Rivers and Zaza James to carry the load. Now that you've entered ACC play, how have you handled that adjustment?
Pretty well. I'm definitely getting more comfortable being a leader. I'm still working on being more vocal, but, you know, it's always fun playing with these girls. You know, I love them all, and, you know, winning is fun.
Zam Jones, Kaden Samuels, and the whole team coming in. I love it. Taking that energy into 2026. Zoe Brooks, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. See y'all.
Yeah. I love it. Carolyn, we need that infectious spirit to come on over to us and carry us through the rest of the year.
Hey, that's how you start out 2026, with that kind of energy.
An outstanding performance from the Wolfpack at home today. Coming up next, Georgia Tech and Notre Dame. Again, your final in this one, 74-46 for Carolyn Peck and the rest of our great crew. I'm Tiffany Green saying, we out.